Hello everybody, my name is Jay. I'm one of the expert OET teachers here at e2language.com. What we're going to do in this live class is look at the new Reading Part B subtest, okay? What I want to do is I want to show you what this test looks like. I want to teach you a method, then we're going to do some timed practice. I'm going to put you under timed pressure before I show you the answers and talk to you about why the answers are the way they are. Okay, just before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that the materials that we're using here are from the official sample tests of the occupationalenglish.org website. I've been given permission to use these, so thank you OET for that. Let's get started. So first of all, just a quick overview of Reading Part B. First of all, it will go for 45 minutes, but keep in mind that that 45 minutes combines Reading Part C as well. A good way to think about Reading Part B would be to spend approximately 2 minutes on each question, and you'll get 6 of those, so you can think about it as about 12 minutes. Okay, what it consists of is 6 short workplace texts. That was very difficult to say. And you'll get 6 multiple choice questions, and each multiple choice question will have 3 answer options. So let me just show you what I mean. So you're going to get the little text here. It's quite short. It's about 150 words max, right? That's the text. Then you get the answer options here, A, B, and C. There'll only be 3 answer options. And then you get the question prompt. Now there are 2 types of question prompt that you will see. You're going to see, 2 types of question prompts. You're going to see the incomplete sentence, like this one here, where the answer option completes the sentence, or you're going to see a direct question like this one here with a question mark on the end, okay? They're the 2 different question prompts you will see. Of course, it's going to ask you about that text. Let's just try to. I want you to get a feel for how complex and challenging this actually is, because it looks simple, it's very straightforward, but the reading that you have to do is quite intense, okay? So I want you to try 2 by yourself, then I'm going to show you a method and we're going to do 6. So I'm going to put you under a bit of pressure here. You've got 2 minutes to do this one here. Okie dokie. How did you go with those two questions? I hope you got a sense of how challenging this is, right? It really is a true test of your reading ability. The question is pretty straightforward, 3 answer options, straightforward multiple choice, but those texts can be quite dense. All right, let's just quickly look at the answers. I'm not going to spend too much time on the answers because we'll look at that in the next set of questions we do. Number 1 was B there, so the manual informs us that the blood pressure monitor may not work correctly in close proximity to some other devices. That came down here from particularly this final sentence here where it says care should be taken to avoid the use of the monitor within 7 meters of cell phones or other devices generating strong electrical or magnetic fields. Okay, this was question 3, or I've just got it 2 here. What must all staff involved in the transfusion process do? They must check that their existing training is still valid. Okay, so that was the answer there. But now I want to teach you a method. You can make this way simpler for yourself. I don't know about you, but if you read the question, then the answer options, then the text, you made your job 10 times harder. There's a way to do this which makes it much, much clearer. Okay, so let me step you through this method. You're not going to confuse yourself or distract yourself, because what I want you to do first is read the text. And I want you to completely ignore the question prompt and the answer options. I just want you to do pure reading of the text and to understand that text as deeply as you can. After you've understood it, remember you've got 2 minutes, so plenty of time to read it and read it deeply and carefully. Then you should read the question prompt and the answer options, okay? You might need to reread the text if necessary to eliminate or confirm the answer option. So let me just talk you through this. Let's say that, let's look at these answer options. So now, one of them is going to, I think it was A that we looked at. One of them is going to say the same thing as the text, but in different words, right? Now, this one might contradict what's written here, or this one might not actually be mentioned at all. So let me just take you through that again. One of the 3 will say the same thing as the text, but in different words. Okay, it'll use synonyms or different word forms to say the same thing. Okay, the other one, the 2 that are incorrect, they may either contradict what's written in the text, they'll say something different or opposing, or it might just not be mentioned at all, okay? In which case it will also be considered wrong. So that's what you're facing. 3 possible answers, or 3 possible ways to look at this. It says the same thing in different words, contradicts the text, or it just doesn't say anything at all about it, okay? That's what's going to go on in these ones here. Okay, let's do some practice now. I want you to use the method where you read the text first and then the question prompt and the answer options. Away you go. Okay, how did you go? Hopefully that method of reading the text first before reading the question and the answer options helped you to get a better and clearer understanding of that text. Remember, to do this well, to do this right, to get the right answers requires you to understand that text first and foremost. If you're not understanding that, well, it's just guesswork. So make sure you really understand that text, then go to the question and the answer options, and it should be much clearer as to which one is the right answer, which ones contradict, and which ones are not mentioned, in which case you eliminate them. Okay? Cool. All right, let's go through the answers now. So the answer for number 1 was C. The guideline says that the nurse in charge can delegate responsibility for the cupboard keys to another ward. All of the other ones were mentioned, but they contradict what was said in the text. Okay, there's nothing about must supervise the opening of the cupboard, or there was nothing mentioned about that the nurse specifically should make sure that the cupboard keys are kept together. So let's see the part of the text where this comes from, where the answer comes from. It says in the text here, apart from in exceptional circumstances, the keys should not leave the ward or department. If necessary, the nurse in charge should arrange for the keys to be held in a neighbouring ward or department by the nurse in charge. In other words, the nurse can delegate the responsibility for the cupboard keys to another ward, especially that should arrange and can delegate. They are the synonyms that mean the same thing. Number 2, when seeking consent for a post-mortem examination, it is necessary to give a valid reason for conducting it. It says in the text here, the person consenting will need an explanation of the reasons for the post-mortem examination and what it hopes to achieve. Okay? If you were like me, you chose B. I made a mistake when I did this. I got this wrong because I read B and it says allow all relatives the opportunity to decline it. And I read here and it said, many relatives are more prepared for the consenting procedure if they have had time to think about it beforehand. However, this all relatives means that this is wrong. Okay? Be careful of absolutes like all and must. They often lead you to the incorrect answer, or only, for example. Okay, number 3, the purpose of these notes about an incinerator is to help maximize its efficiency. For example, it says here to help maintain high incineration temperatures. Plastic materials should be added with each batch of waste as this burns at high temperatures. This is about efficiency. It's not about safety procedures. That's not the purpose of the text. So here we see something interesting. We see what a critical key word in the question prompt this is, the purpose of the notes. It mentions something about safety procedure, something about something being potentially hazard, and it mentions something about waste separation, but they are not the purpose, right? Number 4, what does this manual tell us about spacer devices? It tells us that spacer devices enable a patient to receive more of the prescribed medicine. Because in the text, it says the device, the spacer device, allows more time for evaporation of the propellant so that a larger proportion of the particles can be inhaled and deposited in the lungs. So I don't know about you, when I was reading this, I had no idea, I'm not a medical professional, I had no idea what a spacer device is. But I managed to understand it just through carefully reading that text, and I got I think I know what a spacer device is. I fully understood the text. I went to the question, I went through the answer options, and I remembered that in the text it said something about spacer devices are particularly useful for patients with poor inhalation technique, for children, for patients requiring higher doses. So the answer is B. They enable a patient to receive more of the prescribed medicine. Number 5. What is this email reminding staff to do? Or not to do, rather. What is it reminding staff of? It's reminding them that the benefits to patients of using bed rails can outweigh the dangers. So what happened to me with this one is I read through this carefully, and I noticed that it was talking about whether or not to use bed rails, and it mentioned some bad things about bed rails, but nothing really bad. 1,250 people were injured through bruises and scrapes. Okay, certainly not B. The number of bed rail related accidents has reached unacceptable levels. It said nothing about that. The patient's condition should be central to any decision about the use of bed rails. It just didn't mention that. And really, the overall gist of this was A. Okay. Number 6. What does this extract from a handbook tell us about analeptic drugs? It tells us that analeptic drugs may be useful for patients who are not fully responsive. And really, this critical part here, fully responsive, comes from here. Their use, analeptic drugs, has largely been replaced by ventilatory support. However, occasionally when ventilatory support is contraindicated and in patients with hypercapnic respiratory failure who are becoming drowsy or comatose, respiratory stimulants, it says there what they are. It says respiratory stimulants, analeptic drugs, in the short term may arouse patients sufficiently. Okay? It's useful for patients who are not fully responsive. You can see how tricky these get. How did you go? What did you get out of 6? Put your, just for curiosity, into the comments below, put how many you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe you got 5 or 6. That'd be awesome. If you are struggling with these, then you probably need more practice, more methodological help, and possibly some one-on-one tutorials from expert OET teachers who can show you the ins and outs and the subtleties and the nuances of this type of question. This is a critical question or subtest to get right. You want to try to get at least 5 out of the 6, if not 6 out of 6, okay? All right, so what should you do if you are struggling or if you are worried? You should prepare, because it will make you feel better and will increase your chances of success on test day, and that's what it's all about. So if you do need to prepare, check out e2language.com. You can sign up for free and check out our 2.0 OET course. And if you like what you see, you can always upgrade to upgrade to one of our premium packages, which include one-on-one tutorials, live group classes, all the recordings of the live group classes, feedback on your writing, access to all of the methods and practice tests and other skill building material. We are one of the OET's premium preparation providers, so you can trust our content. It is very, very good. And if you're a doctor, you'll be pleased to know that our writing subtests, well, 2 of them at least, were actually created by a doctor, by a GP from Australia. So they're very, very high quality. Okay, cool. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you liked what you saw, click the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll be very grateful. And I'll see you soon for more OET practice.